7 viewers are waiting already on YouTube.
Nice.
That's cool.
So it's my mom, my dad, my wife.
Okay, we're live. And after a 2-week break, we're finally back to Odys Talks. And today we're starting the special mentor series. Yeah, naturally, the show is brought to you by Odys Global, your one-stop marketplace for age domains and websites, including several additional services such as 301 redirects, AET audits, topic clusters, and fully managed hosting. You can also get domains from us in installments. So if it's domains and websites, both. If it's something you're interested in, just reach out to our team and they'll sort you out. You can also book your coaching sessions with the brightest minds in the industry, including these 3 gentlemen who have joined me today. Including Stuart Vickers, James Dool, and Robert Nixiel. Guys, just do a brief introductions of yourselves. Not that you need one, but just to keep the format going. Stuart, since you're like to my left, why don't you go first?
I'm known as SEO Jesus for some reason, not too sure why. 7 years in affiliate marketing, building affiliate websites, then launched an agency 2 years ago.
Awesome. Robert?
So, hello everyone, I'm Robert Nixiel from Poland. And I'm here for forever, for the last 20 years in minimum. I'm running a data science SEO agency in Poland, and I mostly focus on AI right now, data, and building AI processes that will enrich my operation with SEO. And yeah, it's my bread and butter, AI.
And James.
Hi everyone, I'm James, Manchester in the UK, and I do a lot of affiliate marketing, rank and rent, and basically a mix of everything. I do quite a lot of investments in SEO. I'm more of a businessman that leverages SEO, but been geeking out quite a lot recently on technical SEO. So I'm intrigued by today's topic of conversation.
Awesome. Yeah, well, let's
Ladies and gentlemen, we are live.
Yeah. Yeah, as you can see, everyone, we're going to focus on one single topic today. Well, maybe with a little mentorship. It's all 3 of these guys are mentors. Today we're talking about technical SEO, and we're gonna take as deepest dive as possible into the topic. And yeah, if you have any questions, just make sure to share them in the comment section, whether you're watching it on Facebook, LinkedIn, or YouTube. And I'll read them out for our participants today. But yeah, let's start with a question from me first. Yeah, technical SEO is quite an interesting topic for me as a non-SEO as well. But either way, guys, let's just get straight to the point. What strategies do you recommend for optimizing crawl budget on large websites with let's say hundreds, thousands, millions of pages? How do you prioritize what gets crawled and indexed? Yeah, how's that for starters?
Stuart, you starting
first?
Okay,
You're on the left. You're on the left.
Obviously, navigation. So you want your site architecture and structure to prioritize the hubs in your silos, if you like. So think of it like a bicycle wheel. You've got all your supporting content around in the spokes, but you want to cluster it into your core hubs of content. So no page should be more than about 3 clicks away from the homepage. Other than that, I would probably advocate, I'm going to say this a lot in the call, but Occam's razor, the idea that, and Pareto actually, 80-20, how many of those pages do you actually need? How many of them are actually relevant to your business, could actually generate traffic? Yes, we want topical authority, but if you're going into the thousands and millions, then there's a good chance you're probably going too far down the funnel. It might not actually be that necessary.
Okay, thank you. Robert, James, what do you think?
So for me, it's the biggest principle to optimize the crawl budget and then indexation of the website. So you have to be as small as possible, as big as needed. What I mean based on it. So the typical problem is that especially e-commerces are indexing everything that they have on their website, that it's not necessary. If you are smaller, for the, let's say, second or third layer of your website, I mean 2 or 3 clicks from your homepage, you will get more page rank. So the allocation of the page rank for page you need to index, it will be much higher, which will result with better ranking at the end of the day. So be as small as possible, as big as needed. Go for content pruning. If something is not ranking for the last year, delete it. If you have filters that doesn't exist, let me give an example. Let's say multicolor Nike dress for wedding. Something like this doesn't exist in nature. Maybe in nature it exists, but nobody is looking for it in search. But in facet navigation, it's possible that filters will connect and permutate with other keywords, and you will get something like that. So make sure that each website or each page, each document of your website has sort of search demand. Otherwise, you will start indexing website with no potential, which will decrease the crawl budget. It will decrease the overall page rank of your domain, and yeah, you can go also for simple ideas to optimize the crawl budget. Filter indexation. You can go for robots.txt to exclude sort of filters or things you don't need to index. And what works also for me is the performance, but not this core web vitals performance, but this time to first byte performance, because Google will wait for your website for limited time. I mean, everything below 1 second, like 700 milliseconds, is good for Google. Everything like 1.5 seconds, it's a waste of Google resources. So Google will crowd you less, let's say. So for sure, go for the server performance. It will help you with crawl budget, and then navigation, then internal linking, then proper facet navigation filters, and removing duplicate content. It's easy to diagnose in Google Search Console with these excluded results, like Google pick different canonical, Google pick different website. So yeah, it's your signals to go for sure.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
And that's it.
Kind of follow on from that, Rob.
Right.
With
Did you pardon?
I said, how can I follow on from that? With regards to, first and foremost, there's 2 parts. One about increasing crawl optimization. Obviously, backlinks is going to help increase crawl optimization. And then with regards crawl budget, but with regards to crawl optimization, obviously the internal linking plays a huge factor. But then a big one that we've been looking at recently is actually I used to always leverage content and links and never really geeked out on the technical arm. And recently now we've started to get server logs set up for all of our websites. And the amount of pages that Googlebot is crawling that we don't want crawling as much as what it is. And then that's when you start looking at, yes, okay, you can look at the crawl depth, but it might be that certain big commercial pages have not got, they might only have 8 internal links, where if you added another 7 and got 15 internal links through to that page, and Googlebot start crawling that a lot more, then the server logs, if you sit in the server logs, you see so many potential errors of pages being visited too much that you can fix. And I think that massively helps your crawl optimization as well.
Yeah, you're right. Especially if you use any fancy JS framework like React or Angular, it could be some mistakes inside your API, and Google is trying to knock all possible doors. And also, you said something interesting about links, because links are point of injection. You can inject power to your homepage or inject to other important part in your structure. So yeah, it's also a good idea.
There's 2 bits there that you just mentioned, Rob. I'll try and think of some stuff like from an inversion thinking point of view, where errors that we've come across. What you just mentioned there, we had certain parts of the site that we thought was really important that wasn't being crawled enough. And exactly what you just said, when we start hitting links to those category pages and that section of the site, then straight away Googlebot's crawling that section so much more. And straight away, straight on your bottom line, you're just adding obviously more profit because you're getting higher rankings to that section. It's pretty crazy. Like you said, when you're geeking out of where Googlebot's crawling on the site, to then start understanding, okay, even like little things like you mentioned, Rob, which was great. It needs to be as short as possible, but as long as necessary. That's very important on a page level as well. Remove the fluff, be really concise with the answers, but then try to expand and add more question formats in that people might want to know. So I'm not saying go and change every page from 3,000 words down to 1,000 words. Still maybe keep it 3,000 words, but remove the fluff, but add more question and answer formats in there. So you're starting expanding and showing for more queries. The more queries and the more clicks you start getting, the more crawl optimization, the more Googlebot's liking your site and comes back to your website as well.
And that comes down to the semantic triples as well, doesn't it? So for the question of why is James Dooley the best SEO in the world, you want James Dooley is the best SEO in the world because making the whole language sentence structure really readable for the machine for the sake of efficiency. Ultimately, want to make everything as clean and easy for Google as possible.
Yeah. Google is 7 years old monkey, and let's make it no-brainer for them. It will be cheaper for them, so you will rank higher. Simple. AF.
Yeah. All right. We have our first question from the YouTube chat, and I think I'll follow up on that with my own question after you answer, guys. So it's a question from Johannes Falpel. Hi, Johannes. What is the most over-prioritized technical SEO issue people worry about?
Over-prioritize.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'd probably say all of it, and that some people will dive into, I want to absolutely dominate and master technical SEO, but they've barely got any content on their website and they're not building links. So I think in order of priority, yes, of course, it's important, but the fundamental 80% is my site accessible, fast, easily readable, and formatted correctly? If you're then going down into niche schema topics, then the chances are there's a lot of other low-hanging fruit you can be doing there before you go down that rabbit hole.
I will go for Core Web Vitals for sure, because it's most expensive optimization because of the IT and developers costs. And if you, let's say, make it simple, if you are orange in results, let's say orange one, you are good to rank in top 10, and it matters for top 3 if you are orange or green, but you can prioritize it for the next, let's say, next quarter or next half of a year, and try to rank in top 10 and get as much signals as possible. Then, if you are red, making it simple, it's good to become orange and trying to rank and get signals, and then going to green, which will take you time and cost. And at the beginning, it's better to invest in content and getting signals, these user signals, instead of performance signals that won't drive you ranking. So for sure, it's important. But for top 5, top 3 results, not to get to top 10 and then optimize your website. So yeah, I will go for Core Web Vitals for sure.
I'd say on mine, there's certain technical people out there that won't add images or videos or media rich to pages because they're obsessing over site speed, but not seeing the value of adding the images and media and stuff on the page. And it's almost just a text heavy kind of site that you're going, well, hold on a minute, you can rank the images, you can rank the videos. You want to be trying to drive as much traffic as you can through to the website. So, but I would say on the flip side to it, Johannes, is that it's a good question to ask, but also I just want to tick every box from a technical standpoint. I was the opposite. I was thinking that, I'm not bothered about technical. It's just more about content. It's just more about links. But the more and more I start to realize that what these big sites are doing, it does all come down to the cost of ranking your website. And if you can lower that cost of ranking your website and Googlebot can crawl all your site, then it's going to then crawl it more. The optimization of the crawl budgets is going to be a lot better. You're going to start getting higher rankings if you can bring that cost of information retrieval down. So I'd say make sure you are adding and making them media rich, but I would say geek out on content to get it right. And once it is right and you've got the foundations, then look to obviously you can scale out more content and more links.
All right. As I said, I'll follow up on that, on the question. What is the most under-prioritized or even overlooked SEO issue people worry about, technical SEO issue people worry about, that they shouldn't conversely worry about more? What do you guys think?
Do you want me to go first on this then?
Yeah, go on.
Right, yeah, go on. I'll go first. I've been last a few times. I'd say set up server logs and then start checking where Googlebot's crawling on your site. People obsess over just using certain tools like Screaming Frog and checking the HTML and the crawler of the site, but they're not seeing what Googlebot is crawling on the website. Where Googlebot's crawling, you might start realizing that it's hitting certain pages or parts of your site that it shouldn't be hitting as much as what it is. I'd also then say on the flip side to it, you might start realizing you've been building links to parts of the site that Googlebot's not even crawling for whatever reason. So you just want to, I'd say, set up server logs and just start looking into it. It's very simple, even for someone like me, who's probably one of the most retarded technical SEOs, or used to be one of the most retarded technical SEOs that there is I just get my server logs, I load them into Jet Octopus, and it's presented in such a nice format with pie charts and diagrams. It becomes very easy for me to just go export, send it through to my developers or my content writers and say, go and fix this problem. It doesn't have enough internal links. Go and fix this problem. It's whatever the issues is. There's like, it can find 50 different issues on your site that Screaming Frog doesn't find. So I'd say get them server logs set up.
Mm-hmm. Robert, Stuart?
Could you, I'm a bit lost. Could you pardon the question so I make sure?
Of course. What is the most under prioritized technical SEO issue people worry about and that they should instead worry about?
Yeah, so I think it's also connected with Johannes. Hello, Johannes. What was your most surprising effect after changing just a detail in code or site structure?
No. That's a different question. That's to follow.
Okay. Okay. So I always see results for managing the pagination of e-commerces and indexation of filters. I'm not sure if it's the answer for the question, but yeah, it's for me priority. But sometimes people rather prefer to go to other things, and I think this pagination with hundreds of subpages is the priority, and it makes impact like instantly for me each time.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Stuart.
Potentially CMS, I suppose. Again, coming down to that, what's the foundation you're actually building? How many people? We get clients. How many people come to us with either a Wix website or a custom-built website that's all hard-coded, and to touch anything is going to cost them with their web developers? Whereas there are out-of-the-box, even simple WordPress. There's plenty you can do without going down those routes. So, yeah, you're not going to be able to take any of these next steps without having the foundations right in the first place. And often the foundations are much more cheaper and simpler than we expect. So I've dealt with big corporates where they've spent 30 grand on a custom coded website and they can't do anything with it. The technicals are all flawed, speed is flawed, even uploading a blog post is a challenge. So I'd probably take a big step back again and just say, yeah, just have a really simple CMS.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, Robert has already mentioned the question from Johannes, the next question from Johannes, so I'm gonna read it out loud as well. What was your most surprising effect after changing just a detail in code or site structure?
Well, so I'll answer this again first. When we got the server logs, which I didn't know about, we had JavaScript being set up and it was pulling in some internal links to different pages. And actually, Googlebot wasn't seeing those internal links that we was presenting. And you need to be checking what JavaScript and what is being kind of crawled by Google on JavaScript, because sometimes what you think that they're seeing, they're not seeing and they're not crawling. So that was one of the biggest things that I've had to fix on quite a few of my websites.
It's not popular one. I heard it once on some conference. I don't know where, but I will give you golden nugget. So if you have a problem with indexation, with title tags, canonical tags, simple stuff, you have to check if you have any JavaScript above it in your code, and if this JavaScript add any image, like tracking pixel from Facebook could be an image, or any image above your most important tags, because title tag, meta description is not important, but canonical is important, and all important tags, and JavaScript above it with any image above it, Google will ignore everything, because Google crawlers, if they see any image, they instantly close head tag and ignore everything below it. It's not obvious one, but if you have a problem with indexation, make sure you don't have any image above your most important tags. It's not visible in source code, because you have to render the JavaScript code. It could be even Google Tag Manager with some container inside it that will render it, and Google will render it and ignore everything below it. So make sure you don't have any image above your most important tags. It makes 100% difference for everyone. Yeah.
I hope you've all taken notes right now.
No image above no most important tags, for sure, because everything below will be ignored.
Nice. Thank you. Stuart, what about you?
I've forgotten the question again, actually.
What was your most surprising effect after
That's right,
changing just a little in code or site structure?
Yeah, I mean, site structure, absolutely. We've had really big sites across multiple product categories. As soon as we put in the proper site architecture of just a subfolder, so in this case, this is a finance client, so obviously broad range of financial products. As soon as you arrange those clusters properly, that was huge. But in terms of surprising, I think a couple of years ago, I did a lot of work in terms of basically schema and rich results showing on the Google search. So obviously FAQs were the fun one at the time, getting the drop downs, but also getting the star ratings. And I found you could basically just cobble the code together and just put it onto the page. And with that, you could actually get a star rating showing quite easily. Now, that was fine a couple of years ago. What really surprised me was recently, I was looking at an old client, and that star rating was still showing. All the FAQs have gone. Lots of the old schema tricks don't work anymore, but those star ratings I was able to put on the result are still there.
Oh, that's cool.
That's
Thank you.
good.
Thank
I
you.
mean, just on the note there of schema, I was always schema low life, so I don't even add it in. But then when Corey and Rob started telling me about on mentorship calls about technical SEO and the importance of schema and stuff, one from a knowledge panel. When I didn't have schema set up, I didn't have a knowledge panel. The minute I set up schema and I pull everything together, knowledge panel come up straight away. Exactly the same for several of my brands. Again, it comes down to cost of information retrieval. How does Google know what Twitter account and Pinterest account and YouTube account is connected through to your website? It's fine as showing, well, we link out to it. It should be obvious. You're asking Google to try and find that out, where you can just easily wrap it up in schema, so they've got 100% confidence of knowing it. The minute you go and do it, bam, knowledge panel for your brands, if you're a big brand. So like, I used to not think it was that big, and now I'm wrapping it with everything that I'm doing. And all what I'm just doing is I'm actually seeing gains, because now I'm getting everything that I've done previously for many years that wasn't being connected through to my website is now connected. And yeah, I mean, yes, you're right. Like the how-to schema, the FAQ schema and all that in the search it doesn't seem to be working as well. But just generally setting up organizational schema and same as schema and stuff like that, we've seen big jumps from that as well.
Vlad, you are muted. You are muted, Vlad.
Yeah, I'm sorry. It was loud outside of my studio, and I muted my mic and forgot about that. Yeah, I would like to linger on the JavaScript thing. You, Robert, mentioned. How do you guys handle the challenges posed by JavaScript heavy websites in terms of SEO, and maybe you could share some practical advice or tips for ensuring that content rendered by JavaScript is accessible and indexable by search engines.
Definitely minimize it. Whenever you do a page speed insights report, reduce heavy JavaScript. It's the number one recommendation every time, as long as you don't have massive images. So I'm sure everyone else can share. Generally, my best performing web pages tend to be really quite simple in terms of structure, HTML on the page. There are certain tools and services that require JavaScript, but you want to keep it to a minimum. So years ago, I used to use Hotjar a lot. It took me a while to, and this is the heat mapping software to show you how people read your site. It took me a while to realize just how much damage that does to your rankings. So use it for a short time and get the data, but make the improvements and take it off again.
Yeah, but how do you handle that if, for example, you have a client that comes to you with a like heavy website and it's all full of JavaScript? Do you just clean it up and make it as simple as possible, or do you tackle it somehow differently?
I think, yeah, it's all about that point about necessity. So if it's necessary, then obviously we can't remove it. But a lot of the time, JavaScript is just made to make a site look pretty. And it's always a difficult balance for clients because obviously they are wedded to how the website looks, and they probably invested a lot in making it look pretty. But ultimately, making more traffic and sales is the priority. However, I think Robert's probably going to blow me away with something far more important.
No, I will go simple with the JavaScript. Yeah, it depends on the structure, because if you have just JavaScript on your website, it's normal for the whole internet. But if you have some sort of a single page application in React or Angular or something super fancy, is a problem. But Google is quite good in JavaScript rendering, but it's expensive for them. So they will do it for you, but in some random future you don't know. So your ultimate goal is to make decision how your page should be indexed, where is your content, etc. Instead, Google will make this decision for you, let's say, in next 3 months because of the rendering costs. So you need to implement server-side rendering, make your website as lightweight as possible. Disable your JavaScript in Chrome or in your web browser, and look how your website works without JavaScript. If you see content, tags, most important parts, or not. If not, it's a problem because Google will decide on their own how your website should look in the future with not cost-effective rendering process. Is the thing. So go for server-side rendering. Show for Google in the most cheapest way the most important parts of your website, navigation, structure. Otherwise, it will rank, but in next, let's say next quarter maybe. And the best example is go for any random betting website. I mean, not betting ranking, but betting company. They use a lot of JavaScript for this, live scores, and look how they rank. In most case scenario, they use similar engines for it, and they don't rank for live scores, for sport leagues, for matches, and it's huge traffic, and they don't rank because of the the cost of rendering this website. And today is playing Barcelona with Real Madrid. They have it, but Google will render it in next 2 months. Is the thing. And yeah, and if you have just JavaScript on your website, all internet has it. Just make it lightweight, remove the trash, remove not necessary stuff, make this differ so it will load, let's say, after a few seconds, and after your most important part is already loaded. You can delay some sort of JavaScript. For example, you can delay Google Analytics. You don't need data from first 5 seconds. Maybe somebody need, but I don't need this sort of data. I need data after 10 seconds if somebody is starting to interact with my website. So I can load Google Analytics after 6 seconds and then collect data, for example. And your website is more light only because of it. And there's a lot of solutions. It's a huge topic, but as main rule, make decision on your own instead of allowing Google to make decision for you in the future in costly rendering process. That's it.
I think on mine is talking about mentorship is hiring somebody like Rob that is an expert at knowing what you need to be doing. I can tell you some problems that I've had. I don't know how it's been fixed, but I had issues with render blocking. I had issues with too much Java. There was certain stuff on the JavaScript that we removed from the site, and the minute we started to remove it or minimize it, crawl budget went up massively on certain parts of the site. And I think that must be to do with the costs involved or Googlebot leaving when it was being blocked in some way. So we've minimized it as much as we can, and it's massively helped on Googlebot crawling more different diverse pages that we want to rank. And I think that again comes down to cost of information retrieval. So, but again, I ain't an expert on that. I would, if I needed help on JavaScript or minimizing it, I would jump on a mentorship call with Rob for anything related to technical.
Thank you very much, James. Let me give you one other example. Let's say you have a fancy modal or pop-up on your website to collect mails for your newsletter. Fancy. But somebody is entering your website and you are showing this pop-up like instantly with all shadows around, black background allowed, because here is a call to action. And let's say Google is doing a snapshot of your website just to check how it looks like, etc. And Google see only this fancy pop-up. I had this sort of problems with one of the biggest marketplace in Poland, and they showed pop-up of some sort of promotion side-wide, and the traffic went like this. So yeah, there's a lot of examples. But the rule is always same. Don't show Google. Show Google most important stuff and decide what you are showing instead of their end.
Yeah. By the way, speaking of Google, there's a question that James really wanted to ask Robert. What is the technological side of how Google is using knowledge graphs, LLMs, and retrieval augmented generation?
5 minutes before the call, I sent a dedicated Loom for James. 15 minutes. Yeah, 15 minutes of explanation. And I'm not sure is a topic for the webinar, but let's say the most important is that the consensus is in Google is already set, and consensus is set by knowledge graphs. And they know that cat is an animal and cat has 4 legs. If you write in your content that cat has 5 legs, Google know that it's bullshit because they have the whole structure and the information. And for the single document, like let's imagine you are looking on single blog post, you can extract semantic triples. I mean, subject, predicate, object. Subject, apple, predicate is, object, fruit, or apple is green, apple is red. If you have a lot of this sort of semantic triples, you can explain all existing knowledge in the word. Like, here's the apple, here's the something, here's the banana. with using 3, let's say, this semantic triples. And after it, you have a lot of documents. And if you extract semantic triple for banana, orange, and apple, they will start to connect each other. It's the simplest knowledge graph because they will connect, like say, banana, apple, and strawberry will be connected as a fruit or as additional for the desserts. And it will build with hundreds or thousands iterations the whole knowledge graph. And that's it. We can optimize for it because we can extract from existing content the semantic triples, and we can ask large language model, here's my content, bro, and give me a list of all semantic triples or information that are not existing in my content, for example. Yeah. And we can also, because of the semantic triple connection and this knowledge graph, build proper topical maps, actually, because Cora is doing actually same by hand, but you can do it in big data and big picture, just extracting the semantic triple and connecting each other to it. So I'm not sure. I will stop here. It's important. It's an important topic, and it is how Google works. Is it how? I can give you. I will give one link for your audience. Vlad, I will share it on private chat. Please send it to comments. It's a graph rag made by Microsoft last month, and they explain how they do in Microsoft. So Microsoft equal Bing. They also shared this idea on GitHub with their prompts, how they prompt AI, how Microsoft prompt AI. Microsoft equal also OpenAI, so it's a good lesson how to prompt. And just go there, read this material, and go to GitHub, test it, and you will see brand new word.
Wow. All right. Yeah, that was quite an interesting side note, I'd say.
But the thing is, to explain it in proper way, I need a presentation. Because there's a lot of stuff, wording, jargon and stuff. I need presentation for it to explain it in proper way. I can do it in the future. Yeah.
I think on that, where I think it was slightly relevant to technical SEO is that it shows the technical arm of the RDF kind of framework that Google uses with regards to putting the SPOs together, which form part of the knowledge graph, which then's feeding the large language models. So like from a technical standpoint, if you start to get more semantic triples in the content, instead of we used to just do like term frequency and stuff like that and not try to instill into the writers to get semantic triples and RDF triples in there. But if you start to get that in, that again brings down the cost of information retrieval, which is then Google's coming and liking the content, which then means it's going to crawl more of the content. You're feeding the big gorilla what you want it to fit. You know what I mean? You're feeding it what it wants. So that's where I thought it kind of fell into a technical arm, even though it is more content optimization. It's just then trying to, I wanted you to, which you did very well, explain the technical part of how these, because some people just say, oh, semantic triples, you're just making up words to sound intelligent. And I'm like, this is a huge part of on-page SEO and content optimization that I overlooked, because I even thought that semantic triples and RDF triples was just a made up kind of, oh, it's just someone selling snake oil again. But it's actually not.
Yeah.
James, the main difference is that the single keyword or single entity stuffing don't drive context or meaning. It drives only keyword or entity stuffing. Semantic triples drive meaning, because if you have triple like apple is orange, apple is fruit, it's something, it's meaning. Otherwise, it's just apple. And apple could be company and fruit.
And then it's confusing for Google because, well, what is Apple? Are you talking about Apple the fruit? Are you talking about Apple obviously the big brand that owns iPhones and does chargers and does MacBooks?
Exactly. So it makes a difference in context. Yeah,
it makes a massive difference in there. So this is when, again, we've completely been training up our writers on it. And since we've been doing it and just instilling more semantic triples, literally just by doing that in content, bam, 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 Google's ranking it for more queries. As it starts ranking it for more queries, guess what? It likes your site because now it's showing it for more queries and you're helping feed the knowledge graph what they want. So, and not only that, is it wants you to rank your site for more queries. It doesn't want to go and rank. It wants your page to rank for 10,000 words, as opposed to 10,000 different pages ranking for one word each. Because again, it brings down their cost of being able to rank. It just comes down to common sense of trying to do everything you can to lower the cost for Google, which I think is a big technical part of ranking your website.
Yeah, it's the biggest thing right now, to be honest. And let me give you other example for you, because we have Apple as a company and as fruit, and for example, Mars as a planet and snack. Yeah. Semantic triples will drive the content context.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have one last question for you guys, since we're here on Odys Talks, right? What are the primary advantages of using an age domain over a new domain when it comes to technical SEO?
So if history is positive, you can leverage the positive history. And your first question on the call was crawl budget.
Yes.
And let's imagine that you can catch or buy a domain which was a huge e-commerce in the past. So you can leverage their historical crawl budget because they were huge in the past, for example. So it's only about the existing links, existing history. If positive, it's fine. It's great. And for example, historical crawl budget and the cost of existing link profile is the biggest advantage, I think, because domain can cost like 2K and the same link profile could cost 20K if you want to build it starting from today. But there's also a few risks, and I go with it like, okay, I'm okay with 70% of success rate because the value I get from expired domains or aged domains are so big, it's so big that I can accept the 30% of failures because of the negative history, because of the something or algorithmic problem in the past, whatever. It happened, but the advantage there are much more advantages in the case for me.
Mm-hmm. James, Stuart?
Yeah, for me, with regards to that, is obviously you're getting a massive head start over a brand new domain because of the link equity, the historical data that has. It might have a lot of social media kind of presence and stuff on there, which you can leverage as well. So I would say that what we've started to do is not just for building out of new sites. We've been using it quite a bit for 301s, where we used to do it, where it just goes direct to the money site. What we've started to do now is we've started to kind of hit it to almost like a supplementary website that we still own that could be like an exact match domain as a 301. And if it works, then we can then start further down the line looking to do certain pages, which is then going to go to the main money site. So we're kind of testing it on the 301s. And because some of these might have 2,500 referring domains. So I'm like, well, hold on a minute. I want to make certain that I know that it works. It looks like a clean backlink profile, but is this going to have a positive or negative effect on my big money site? I'll test it on like a secondary type domain that I own. But like Rob said, you're just getting that head start with regards to the crawl, like with regards to the existing link profile of what you have. One big thing recently, I did a couple of mentorship calls on the Odys platform last week, and people was buying these domains and building out. And there wasn't rebuilding some of the pages, which had a lot of the links pointing to an inner page. And I think it's also very important to make certain that you're building those pages out that was getting the links to make certain that the link equity is being passed through. Like, it was crazy how many 404s that they was getting. And it was from like the Telegraph and the BBC linking to an inner URL that they hadn't rebuilt. And there wasn't even, or at least if you're not going to rebuild it, at least 301 it back to the most relevant page, which there wasn't doing. So there wasn't getting that link equity from the Odys domain. So that saved them quite a bit. But yeah, I mean, it just gives you a massive head start, in my opinion, over a brand new domain.
That's what I was going to add in terms of PageRank sculpting, where, yes, obviously the homepage is going to get 80-90% of the links, and we know there's an inherent fundamental value there. But yeah, go into Ahrefs, look at best by links in terms of the page, and find the inner pages that do have significant equity, because you can redirect those somewhere else, which basically means you can get more of that power deeper into the inner pages of your site. So if you're doing just the classic homepage redirect to the homepage, then you've still got the same problem of the crawl budget trying to get more of that power deeper into your inner pages. Whereas if you've got these inner pages that already have links, you could potentially have 5 or 6 other pages to very closely tailor to the most relevant inner pages on your site. Or the alternative, some people do this trick where you basically build an acquisition page on your site to make it look like you've acquired this brand. So you've got a hyper-relevant page that kind of explains why this transition has happened. And then within that page, you can then internally link wherever you want. So again, in terms of, obviously, you've got all this power into your homepage, but ideally you want to try and funnel that deeper into your site to your actual money pages. And you can do it with that kind of acquisition page, potentially using exact match anchor text. So you want to be as clean as you can with the redirect, but on that page that you own, you can then explain the acquisition and then link to your money pages with really powerful anchor text.
One little add-on to that. I wrote the page about the link acquisition method about 6 years ago on FatRank. And one thing that we found that worked a lot better was when you did the link acquisition page and you was doing the 301 through to that page, is then go and do a press release, which gets you 350 more referring domains that links that brand and this together, both on the page. So you're linking to the page that you're going to be the site you're going to be 301 in, but also you're linking to the page and you kind of do a press release to say this company has bought this company, and then it links it again offline together. So it kind of matches the, okay, now there's lots of other places online and they're both getting fresh links as well. We found that by doing that, it helped massively.
Yeah. Wow. Thank you guys for answering this question and basically for the entire conversation, for sharing your thoughts and golden nuggets and insights. Woo! It's about time for us to wrap the things up today. Thank you for joining, for doing this, for kicking the mentor series off. This was, I mean, you're an amazing trio. And everyone out there, you should just go to odys.global/mentors. You can find Stuart, Robert, and James over there and book your calls with them, depending on what your current issues or constraints are in whatever you're doing, whether it's SEO or business related. I mean, you can go through their profiles and you know what these guys are doing, and they can definitely help you save quite some money on solving the issues that you have, right? So yeah, just go to odys.global/mentors, sift through the mentors list, and yeah, either book these guys or any of the other mentors you will find there. Any of the last words before we wrap this up, guys?
I think for me, you've wrapped it there with regards to saying go to the Odys mentorship page. I'd say definitely don't book me for anything related to technical SEO. From a technical standpoint, maybe book Stuart or Rob. I've been speaking to them people and some others, Odys mentors, about technical. Like, I massively undervalued the importance of technical SEO. And since I've then had these mentorship calls and started to realize the issues that my site had, I'm like, wow, like I need to be making certain that I'm jumping on these mentorship calls so I can be improving my knowledge for my own sites. So it's a great platform there for people to learn from. They get 30 minutes or an hour or whatever time that they want to book with some of these people that have been there and done it and scaled sites out hugely.
Thank you for the shout out. All right. Yeah. Once again, thank you. Thanks everyone for listening and watching. And I encourage you to come back to this conversation, rewatch and listen to it, take notes, because this is priceless information. Practical, valuable. It's all for you. All right. So see you around. See you next week on the second mentor series episode. Just follow us on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, what else? LinkedIn as well. Yeah, and just stay tuned.
And remember to smash like button. I always wanted to say it.
Of course. Yeah. Smash the like button. Yeah. Good one. All right. Cheers, everyone.
Cheers.
Thank you very much.